The Union of the Comoros is an island nation along East Africa. It happens to be one of the poorest nations in the world. 45% of its 870,000 population languishes below the poverty line. The impoverished country has witnessed more than 20 coups and attempted coups post gaining independence in 1975. On the 14th of January, the first round of presidential elections were held to select the national leader from 6 candidates for the next 5 years. And the incumbent president, the former coup leader Azali Assoumani, emerged victorious, but the poll was marred by opposition claims of ballot rigging and also a very low turnout. Now, barely 2 days after the announcement of the re-election of Assoumani, there were street battles between soldiers and angry opposition supporters that erupted. At least one person was killed and 6 others were wounded, apparently shot by live rounds. Our next report gets more details.
The Electoral Commission of Comoros announced on Tuesday that the incumbent president, 65-year-old Azali Assoumani, had garnered 63% of the votes in Sunday's ballot, thereby securing a 4th term as president. The declaration triggered violent protests the next day after opposition parties cried foul, terming the results fraud and demanding an annulment. Several roads in the capital, Moroni, were barricaded and an unspecified number of protesters apprehended. To curb the spreading unrest, a nighttime curfew was imposed. Despite the preventive measures, buildings were vandalized, looted and set ablaze, including the home of a minister. A car at the home of another minister was set on fire, and a national food depot was burned down during the protests. The city of 100,000 wore a deserted look on Thursday, aside from the street fighters. Interestingly, street protests are banned in Comoros. In a bid to prevent demonstrators from communicating and sharing information on social media, internet services were cut off by the authorities. On Thursday, the health officials reported the first casualties of the protests. One of them, a 7-year-old child.
For today, we have 7 admissions due to the demonstrations, including a little 7-year-old child who is not seriously injured because he was sent home. But the 6 other, it was probably by gunshot. And there is one dead, like you said, with serious head trauma, probably by gunshots.
Il y a un mort, comme vous venez de le dire, un traumatisme crânien grave.
The opposition Orange Party has dubbed the protest a spontaneous uprising against autocratic rule, claiming that they were not behind the protests as alleged by the president's camp. The opposition claimed to have no role in the organization of the protests but stood in solidarity with the protesting youths. It is to be noted that the unexpected low 16% turnout figure in the presidential vote falls way short of the figure for the parallel governor polls.
If we look at these results, how we can understand in a coupled election, you vote at the same time for the governor and the president of the republic, and those who voted for the governor of Grand Comoros, 125,000, and when we look at those who voted for the president, nationally 55,000. How can we understand this? Because there were jams, they committed fraud.
Assoumani's victory is expected to be confirmed by the Comoros Supreme Court at the weekend. In 2018 as well, the former military chief of staff turned civilian ruler had pushed through a constitutional reform allowing him to centralize powers. Many of his opponents have been jailed or exiled. The million-dollar question is, will Assoumani return for a 3rd consecutive term and remain in power till 2029 and extend his increasingly autocratic grip over the country?